Hello, my name is Jacob Monk. This short video is about Russian anti-Catholicism. Well, if you go back in history, you'll find out that Russia has always been an anti-Catholic nation. Unfortunately, because maybe this is the main reason for the East-West conflict, for the First World War, the Second World War, the Crimean War, and the current conflict between USA and Russia. It's all rooted in the basic East-West conflict. And the East-West conflict is rooted in history, in historical events, including church history. It all comes down to the basic concept, what happened in the year 325 with the word filioque. Well, the Eastern Church, the Russian Church, the Byzantines, they didn't want this word in the Declaration of Creed. But nevertheless, in the next council the Church had in 381, it was introduced in the Creed, but the Russians were against. And now we are going to jump, a big jump, more than 1,000 years ahead, and you'll see that the conflict about filioque had a lot of consequences. One consequence was the mutual excommunication in 1054 of the East and the West Church. Other was the attempt to reunite the Church in the 14th century. The Russians, they were against, and because of that, Constantinople was conquered by the Muslims. So today Constantinople is called Istanbul and is a main city in Turkey. Well, the conflict between East and West has the effect that Russia has always been very anti-Catholic. And today, where they have a very good president in Russia, he is called Vladimir Putin, unfortunately still the Russian Church is anti-Catholic, is promoting anti-Catholic faith, anti-Catholic propaganda. And I have 3 examples of this. And I'm a Dane. My name is Jacob Monk. I'm living in Copenhagen, so I can only tell this from my own perspective. But probably there are hundreds of other examples of the same. Well, example number 1 is the Russian news agency Sputnik. It should be a non-religious news agency. That's what they tell me. And the Russian state is not a religious state. If you read the Russian constitution, you read that no church, no religion has any special influence in Russia, influence over Russian politics. But that is the theory. In practice, it is not that way. In practice, the Russian Orthodox Church is the only church that has real freedom, including freedom of speech in Russia today. And therefore they can misuse the Russian news agencies to promote anti-Catholic propaganda. And the other day I saw they had an advertise in Sputnik. It showed the Pope in Rome. The Pope in Rome kissing the devil. Kissing the devil. And the devil, he was the American president. The American president was drawn in a way so you could see it was Donald Trump with the signs of a devil. And I just have to say today it is the 13th of May 2000 17. So know when this happened. And this picture, it was reproduced in the Sputnik website. It was a blasphemous picture trying to degrade the leader of the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope in Rome, to picture him like a devil worshipper. And I would like to ask the editors of Sputnik, what would happen if a Russian person in Moscow did make exactly the same drawing, but only with the leader of the Orthodox Church in Russia? He's called Kirill. Kirill with the horns of a devil, kissing the devil. If this was painted on a wall in Russia, for example in Moscow, what would happen? If they caught the person who had painted it, what would happen? Well, I'm sure in Russia they have laws against blasphemy, so this person will end in jail for a long time, I can tell you. And exactly the same should happen to persons in the West who do blasphemy against the Pope, against Christian icons and symbols, trying to make dirt on the Christian faith and all the holy stories and all the holy places in Europe, no matter if we are Protestants or Catholics. So this was example number 1. Sputnik, they tell me that it's impossible to distinguish between Russia and the Russian Orthodox Church. I've heard that so many times. So I suppose that Sputnik is now an agency of the Russian Orthodox Church. That is not good. Example number 2. In England, they have a website, and this website is run by an Englishman being an Orthodox believer. The website is called The Duran. Well, actually it should be called a Russian website. It is in English, and I agree with most of the articles on this website. But this website is also propagandizing for the Orthodox faith. They can't distinguish between religion and politics, and they see propaganda for the Russian Church, for the Orthodox Church, as being the same as propaganda for God. And that is not true. The editor of this website is called Adam, and Adam is a member of the Russian Orthodox Church in England. And maybe that's the reason why he has so much solidarity with Russia. And I understand him. I like Russia myself. I'm a fan of Vladimir Putin and Sergei Lavrov, sure, but I'm not a fan of the Orthodox Church. And Le Duran, theduran.com, is a promotion agency for the Orthodox faith. And now we have example number 3. This example is a website run by the Russian philosopher Dugin. In the old days, he was a professor in philosophy in the university in Moscow, but then he was sacked because his points of view were not in harmony with the political leadership in Moscow. But this website, it is also a Russian Orthodox website. And I remember around 1 month ago, I looked through this website, and they are telling a lot about religions, a lot about cultures. And then they had a list about religions. And in the list of religions, they had Christian religions. In this category, they had Orthodoxy and Protestantism, not Catholicism. That means their editor, he does not believe that Catholicism is a Christian religion. Well, let me ask the editor of this Russian website. Well, if Catholicism is not a Christian religion, then why did representatives from the Christian Church in Moscow participate in the Second Vatican Council from 1962 to 1965? There they made all the agreements that has been the basic concepts of the Catholic Church since then. That means since 1965. And the Russians, they participated in this process. Then I have to ask Vladimir Dugin and his co-believers, since 1965, when did the Catholic Church stop being a Christian church? Well, let's be honest, this is totally nonsense. This is anti-Christian, anti-Catholic nonsense. This is pure blasphemy. Shame of you, Alexander Dugin, and shame of your co-workers. We want a Russia the same way it was before the criminal Yeltsin made his coup d'etat. That is a Russia not run by the Orthodox Church, because the Orthodox Church is the reason of most of the problems in Russia. The Orthodox Church is an anti-Catholic church, and it has been that way for more than 1,000 years. So Russia is going to be an anti-Catholic, that is an anti-France, anti-Italy, anti-Spain, anti-Portugal, anti-Brazil, and so on country. How is BRICS going to work? Brazil is a member of BRICS. It's a Catholic country. You have a news agency called Sputnik making blasphemous propaganda against the Catholic Church. How do you think the Catholics in Southern America, they react to that? How do you think the Catholics in Brazil, the president in Brazil, he thinks about that? Well, I think it's time for you to reconsider your standpoint, to make an absolute distinction between anti-Catholic orthodoxy and the Russian faith, the Russian ideology. Because you don't need the Orthodox Church in Russia, not at all. There are many religions you can use in Russia. You don't need the Orthodox Church. And if you have the Orthodox Church, and I know you have, then you can put it the same place as they did during communism. It was in a low place, a non-important place. The church was allowed, they were allowed to work, and they were allowed to hold their masses and ceremonies. But it was not the church who run the state. It was the state who controlled the church. And I'm afraid it's not that way today. And this is a big problem for Russia as long as Russia is run by an anti-Catholic sect, and the Orthodox Church is a religious sect. Then Russia will have a lot of problems when they try to communicate to the Western world. That is Germany, EU, France, England, Italy, and USA. Thank you for listening.